So I thought I would go over on an antelope on how to skin these glands out. That's the biggest thing I see when people send me a cake to tan, is they don't skin these glands out. And sometimes if you don't skin them out, the salt won't penetrate real well, and sometimes you'll have some hair loss in this gland. Now, this gland is pretty nasty. One thing you'll see is it's actually is between the hair, skin, and the leather part of the antelope. So this, if you were tan this would be the leather, and this would be the hair side. Now you can, on this one, you can see where that gland is actually leaching through, and that's what gives it its smell. It rubs on junipers and sagebrush and stuff, and it leaves its mark. And you can see this one's pretty darn nasty. If you don't get that gland cleaned out, especially if you mount it, that will leak out of your mount for life, and it'll attract bugs and everything else. So it's really important to get that gland, and you can see it's about the size of a softball, and it goes clear up to the ear and under the eye, and I mean that's the edge of the gland right there. So, and what we're going to do is I typically kind of cut out, make little hatch marks until I find the edge of the gland. And I don't go through the skin, obviously. I just go shallow cuts until I find that gooey gland. And then I'll just start skinning that off. And try not to cut the hair or the hair follicles. It's difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do. What I do is I'll just keep cutting, skinning it off until I get to the white leather part of the animal, and that's where you know it ends. When I mount this goat, I will come back and I will smooth. I will actually transition that a little better, so I don't have like an edge that changes kind of my hair pattern. If that makes sense. So right around here, I will take my scalpel and I will clean that up. And you can do a little bit of that if on the shaving machine if you have one. But that's kind of most people don't have a fleshing machine. But you can see there's kind of the edge where that gland starts to fade out. And just so I don't skin too deep and cut the hair roots, what I'll do is I will usually start out shallow, and then I'll work my knife down to the skin. And if you get in too close, you can feel like kind of like a grind where you're hitting into those hair follicles. And I have accidentally cut into them a little bit, and it doesn't seem to cause the hair to fall out if you cut into them. But if you cut too deep and you actually cut them out, you can see right there, you can start seeing those hair roots popping out. So when you see those, you need to stop. And this is important for many reasons, to get this out before you salt it. I have seen them salted and not slip. but you're definitely running a risk of slippage if you don't get it, because the that fluid is just kind of trapped in there, and it's pretty hard for the salt to pull out the fluid. Just like a moose waddle or anything like that, you got to be able to get penetration with your salt. Otherwise, you will lose hair there. Not always. Sometimes it's seldom, but it does happen. And it's better to do it now than after it's tanned. So that's the other reason I want to do it now. Is because if your salt does penetrate enough to hold it and gets all that fluid out of there, and if you go to tan this thing, that is going to be super difficult to get out later. Because if you think about it, even if you dry it up, the fluid is still in there. It's just dried. So it's not a fluid anymore, it's more of like a jelly that's just dried, and the smell alone from that is going to deter your customer. It will always stink. I've had numerous remounts on antelope that the customer is like, yeah, this stinks, I don't know why, blah blah blah. It smells rotten, and the only way I can describe it when it's mounted up and that, sitting there, is like a musty smell. It's very, very strong smelling, very potent. So make sure you get that out. Anyways, I'm gonna go and continue to flesh this out, and you can kind of see like a line you can feel with your fingers. This gland extends up into here, and then it kind of wraps around, just like this one. And you see I made a little nick there that I'm going to have to sew up. Other than that, I didn't do too bad of a job. Anyways, I hope this helps.